forgot I had to record. Okay. So we called the meeting at 6:01 just for the record, for the recording. All right, so field users, thank you for joining us. We do this annually, and I'm glad that even though it's virtual, a couple of you, a number of you still decided to come, which is very helpful. For field users just joining, or for Joe, if you don't mind just muting yourself, that would be awesome. Just while Woody and I go over a few things. So field people, I did send you guys a couple documents. I'm just going to go through them real quick. Then Woody's going to talk for a few minutes about what's going on this year. We are very excited and very hopeful that we will have a normal spring season. So fingers crossed that everything stays good, vaccinations keep happening, and the numbers keep going down. So,
Jen, I'm sorry to interrupt, and I'll put myself on mute afterwards, but could you have someone to go through who is here, who they're representing, just so that we can have that for the record, and also for the new people joining our committee?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to actually go through for who I can see, and that way Dana will have a very clear record. So I see Bob Sisti and Jamie Morris from Berlin Youth Football Club. Hi, guys. I have John Riley from Berlin Youth Soccer. I have Vinay Patel from No Glove, No Love, which is one of our adult softball leagues. We have Gary Von Etten from American Legion. We have Ryan, I don't know how to say your last name, from Ultimate Frisbee, right? Okay. I have Paul Griswold for the cross country for the high school, as well as the cross country meet that he does every year. And call-in user 4, can you identify yourself?
John Paul Demko for the Berlin High School Football Lineman Challenge.
Perfect. Thank you, John Paul. All right, so that tells us who everybody is here. So like I said, I sent out a couple documents. I'm just going to run through them real quick. We did change field rental fees. We did not change them on the local side. We've kind of been alternating since we went to an hourly rate, alternating who we raise every year. So we did raise the non-local rates to $50 an hour, and for Scalise, $70 an hour. Still trying to get caught up to where we should be in terms of surrounding towns. We do a field cost analysis for fees every year. So if you compare us to other towns, we're kind of still on the low end or getting equal. Light fees, we've decided for some reason every year, light fees were always different costs at different fields. So we've decided to change the fee structure this year and make them all the same cost, $50 an hour for local, $65 an hour for non-local, and that is across the board, no matter if you're playing at Scalise or Hubbard or Stage 1, it doesn't matter, Zipadelli. Just a reminder, local is 75% Berlin residents. To be local, unless you're a youth group, obviously, you need to prove residency by giving myself verification of residency via licenses or tax paperwork to prove that you're 75% Berlin residents. The groups that are exempt from field reservation fees, as you guys know, are Board of Ed, Town of Berlin, and Berlin youth groups, as long as you're affiliated with a national organization like youth football, Little League, lacrosse, soccer, and American Legion. Deposits stayed the same. Just a reminder, field forms are due March 1st. I know that's early, but we always put that date in, knowing a lot of the youth organizations are still waiting on numbers of registration, but anything you can get us to get us started on the process of starting to put it into the computer for reservations is helpful. Just a reminder, permits are not granted until we have all the paperwork, until all the fees are paid, until verification of residency is completed and certificate of insurance is received. If you guys are not sure when your certificate of insurance expires, you can reach out to Terry Noyes and she will check that and let you know. We do have a couple field usage updates. As you know, a couple years ago when we did work on Zipadelli, we turned Zipadelli into a baseball field only, and it is only to be used by local nonprofit groups, so that's that 75% or more. Since we've just done major reconstruction on Sage 1, we've decided to do the same thing there. They will also be softball only. There will be no more baseball played on Sage 1, and that will also be local nonprofit groups only. Looking ahead to the spring season, I have 2 dates that if you guys want to write them down, but I'll also put them in my recap email either tomorrow or next week. March 27th is the annual Parks and Recreation Easter event. And Sage Park will be closed from 10 to 4 on that day. I've also already told the Board of Ed that. And then May 29th, as long as, God willing, we are able to do it, the fire department will be doing their annual car show. So that whole day, Saturday, May 29th, Sage Park will be closed for all field rentals all day. Their rain date is the next day. So just keep that in the back of your mind when scheduling games or practices. We are going to be doing some construction this year. Percival Soccer Field is going to be going under construction at the end of this spring, probably. It'll be out of commission for spring and summer, but we'll be back on for the fall. We're kind of highlighting some of those trouble areas to get those fixed on that field, which will be great for some groups. Biscoglio Field could possibly be under construction this year. We just don't have a time frame yet. Most likely summer and fall it will be out. Most likely after the track season for the high school, we will close that field. And that is going to be converted to a synthetic turf field. So that's going to be really good to open up some play for some groups. The bathrooms at Scalise Field in the building will be under construction sometime this summer. They're looking to go out to bid in March. And then once we have the design schedule and everything, we'll be in touch with everyone. We're obviously going to try to stay away from closing them during nutmeg games. We're going to try to stay away from closing them on the alignment challenge. But it does mean that because of those 2 dates, we may have to close them for, 6 to 8 weeks and another part of the season. We just don't know yet because bids haven't gone out yet. So once we know that, we will get in touch with that. As you know, we implemented a banner policy last year. This is mostly for Tony and any youth groups that put up banners. As we put in the policy, you're expected to come to the March meeting if you want to hang banners for the spring season. So just keep that in mind. Any questions in regards to that for the spring season, just shoot me an email. We can get them answered before our March meeting. That is a quick update I wanted to give. I know Steve Wood has a few things he wants to go over, so I'm going to give him the floor.
Mine's not going to be as long as Jen.
It was
I'm
not
trying to
long.
keep it specific just to the sports that I can see that are currently here now. For anybody using any of the fields, softball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, if you guys notice that something doesn't seem right with the field, like it's getting too much water or it's not getting enough water, or it just seems like it's dying, please don't hesitate to shoot an email to us. If you find a safety concern like we found with the center line at Dennehy this year, please shoot us an email so we can get that on the list to be fixed and correct. We do walk the fields. We're on the fields, but there's a lot of things we don't see. I want to thank Gary Van Netten for working with us this summer. We had a bug get into Zipadelli Field on the brand new sod. It destroyed about 3/4 of the field, and he worked extremely well with us, moving his practices all over the place. So I really appreciate that on his part. On all the irrigation clocks throughout, there's going to be a sticker and a card put on them with the contact number of myself and an email address where if you guys do find a deficiency, you can just shoot us an email. We can get a repair order up and working and move forward with that. Bob, thank you for your patience this year with the wet fall and having to move you all around. Same with youth soccer. You guys were great, especially with the amount of moving around we did with you guys also. We did implement this year a aerating, fracking, slicing, and overseeding process through all the fields in town. We think we've had a great first year where a lot of fields are starting to come back. There are fields that have restrictions, especially the ones at the elementary schools and middle school, which prevents us from putting synthetic pesticides down. So those are more natural and organic to try to get the grass germinating and growing there. And I think that basically just wraps it up. I mean, and Jen will add more to it tomorrow regarding Berlin Little League, anybody using Beretta. If possible, can you guys just start to, buy tarps, put the tarps in front of the pitcher's mound if you can't pitch from home plate? That would be huge. It seems like right in front of Beretta, we probably did somewhere around 1,400 to 1,600 square feet of sod this year. that really just got hammered, especially after we just redid it. So we added 1,400 square foot of sod there, 60 yards of silt. We did equivalent to that up at Garrett and Puccini with about 120 tons of silt up there to try to get those fields playable. The long-term goal is to replace them or repair them or turn them into a 50-70. That should do that. Just some of the hidden costs that you guys don't see is here's some figures to throw at you of what it costs to maintain the athletic fields that you guys primarily use. Electricity is around 80 grand. Water and sewer is about 34. Chemicals are about 32,000. Mowing is about $164,000 a year. Ball field maintenance, just having people go out there, groom and line them, is about 75,000. Painting the athletic lines for all the events, soccer, football, lacrosse, that's about 11,000. It puts us just over $400,000 just in field maintenance for the field you guys play on. So thank you guys for all your support throughout the last couple of years, especially seeing that I'm new to this. And any suggestions or anything I can do to help, please send it my way. If you have my cell phone number, please get in the habit of emailing me. So this way, if I am off or I'm not in state, I can forward that email to my foreman to make sure that the field is prepared properly for the next day. Thank you, guys.
So I think that's good. I didn't know if Donna, you wanted to say anything or if we wanted to open the floor up for questions. We really just appreciate you guys working with us. We know, especially this past fall, we had to move people around and juggle people just to get them in. Like I said, we're hoping for a good spring. We are going to be short a soccer field, so we will be working with Berlin Youth Soccer in conjunction with Berlin Youth Lacrosse to make sure that everybody has the fields they need. But in all honesty, we have a great group. You guys are always willing to, help each other out. And, I've called you guys and said, hey, is there any chance you can move to this field because I really need this field for a game for somebody else? And for the most part, you guys are always been receptive of that and willing to help out each other groups. So that makes it a lot easier on myself and Steve. So we just wanted to thank you for that.
So I'll just add, again, I also want to thank Steve and Jen for keeping you guys all in the loop and hopefully communicating as best they can when changes come up. We all appreciate you guys working with us, and I think with Woody coming on and taking care of the fields, they really haven't been in any better shape than they are now, even though we've had some issues. But appreciate all the work. And for sure, if you have any comments or questions, this is a great time. The commissioners are here to listen. Please feel free.
Go ahead, Bob. Just make sure you unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is Bob Sisti from Berlin Youth Football asking a question for the record.
So you said Biscottville Field is going to be possibly under construction summer and fall.
Yep.
Where would we practice?
Go ahead,
I'm
Steven.
happy to take that one. So if the field goes under construction this fall, the days that we can move you guys to Scalise, we will move you to Scalise. If not, in conjunction with Berlin High School, you will have the auxiliary field where the shot put in the discus is, as also as the retention pond. We do know that it's not ideal. It's not anybody's first choice, but that is the best way that we can accommodate and minimize the effect to all the groups.
Where? But behind the tennis courts?
Yep.
It's not feasible. There's no way I can get all my teams in there. It's not possible.
I think it's definitely something we can talk about since it's not the fall season yet. The bottom line is we have to find out when the field is going under construction, and then we can definitely talk about a plan. We have plenty of time to sit with you, Bob, and figure out what's going to work best for you guys. It is going to be a very rough fall, but in the end, we'll have a synthetic turf field there, which is going to be phenomenal. So we're just going to try to make it so we work together and get through that next fall season. We may not have all the answers right now, but we have a whole couple seasons to figure it out.
Right. And the way we're looking at it as a football field is 80,000 square feet. If we have two 40,000 square feet fields, that equals 80,000 square feet, which equals a full-size football field. That's the mathematical equation we're going to work with and move forward with. That if we're taking 80,000 square feet away, we're going to present you with 80,000 square feet of playable surface. Like we said, it might not be ideal. We might have to stagger practices and start at 5:30 to 6:45, and then go from 6:45 to 9. It's not ideal for anybody, but we think it's the best solution to the problem. And if somebody has a better one, we're all ears.
Yep.
Well, I don't want to get in front of everybody, but you know that I understand your numbers, but that's not how it works. Don't forget, we got a million variables with different ages. We have lights, which is going to be obviously another huge issue this year and can cost you guys money. And there are more variables than just that, but we'll talk about it, I guess, later.
Yeah, I think we have plenty of time to figure out a solution that's going to work for everybody. Right now, our problem is trying to figure out Berlin Youth Soccer losing Percival Field. So we got to focus on the spring season for now. And then once we have the construction schedule, like I said, Steve and I will sit down and see what our options are. Anybody else? Ryan?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. Ryan from Connecticut Ultimate here. We're pretty flexible. We're still even considering that whether or not we're going to be hosting our summer efforts. So if you don't, we can free up some space for groups in the summer, but we're usually from second week of June through the first week of August or so, if that. And we typically only use Sage. But if it makes sense for groups and there needs to be a moving of locations, as long as we have the playable space we need, it doesn't have to be on particularly on Sage. So we'll be flexible on that. We're trying to get dates and times into, each town we work with as soon as we can. But some of it's still up in the air whether or not we're going to be hosting. So, we'll be knowing that we kind of have to be up in the air. We're trying to be as flexible with each town as we can be up to their confines. So if Sage doesn't work for us and we have another space that's like, it would make sense for a group to move there and we move somewhere else for the auxiliary purposes or whatever. If it makes it easier for other groups, we're fine with that. Just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. You guys have always been willing to play wherever. As long as you have a big grassy area, you guys are usually good.
Yeah, let's get cones and shoes. We're pretty good. We're set.
Yeah.
Hi, Jen. This is Gary Vinette.
Hi, Gary.
Is it okay to talk? Or
Yeah, go ahead. This is Gary Von
I
Itt
have
from
a
American
question,
Legion.
in regards to, I wasn't aware of. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I have a cold. Last year, we shared the field and very amicably, I might add, with the I'm not sure the
Berlin Little League major division.
junior league or. And I'm certainly not looking to get any kids in town where they can't play baseball. What I don't understand is the kids and the coaches were great, by the way. No problem at all. We're trying to protect the fields, and the fields getting use when you have a field like McGee. Now, when I say McGee, keep in mind that the same kids that are using Sage are in junior high school, and if they're going to play on McGee Field. I know there's soccer nets there, but in the past, the Legion has always had to play around the soccer nets. We simply moved the soccer nets up to the side of the field, and we play there, and we practice there. I know the original intent was to keep the field just for the high school and for Berlin High School and American Legion. I think it's detrimental to the field by having other teams on there when in fact McGee is an open facility. Soccer nets can be moved just like we've had to move them in the past.
Steve, you going or?
I can go first if you want to go second.
Yeah.
I've learned more about soccer in the last couple of years than I think I ever thought I would have known. And if I'm wrong, somebody please interject with this, please. Is the way a soccer goal needs to be secured nowadays is a lot different on a liability issue than it needed to be secured 2 years ago. It needs to be secured. It needs to be anchored to the ground. If it is not anchored to the ground, somebody can hop on top of it it could fall, it could crush and kill somebody. So the soccer goals that are at McGee are not really held down by sandbags. The soccer goals on Scalise are not held down by sandbags. They're held down by a mechanism that is screwed or nailed into the ground to prevent them from falling over and crushing a kid. That's kind of where that comes in play.
And in terms of the policy of usage, when Zipadelli was finished with that the renovation we did of the infield, when that was done, this commission decided from the very beginning that that would be a local nonprofit use only, which would always allow Berlin Little League because they fall into that category. It was never deemed baseball only or American Legion only. It was always deemed local nonprofit. So Little League always had the chance to use that field. And this year, when we were able to put them there, when Beretta went under construction, it was a huge help to kind of do some work on Beretta Field.
No, I understand. I've certainly taken nothing against Little League. I've been part of and supported for 30-some years. It's not about me. It's just about the kids. And again, I don't want to see the kids get put off any fields at all. And Steve brought up a good point. If that's what it is with the soccer nets, then I get it. And so be it. You know, this is for the kids. But I just hate to feel it's one of the better fields around, and then I'll have to go through all the stuff that went through last year with the really other things that were in there. I mean, I fully support Billy Pettit, Little League, and stuff like that. So I'm not trying to pick them off. Other than if another place to play, not well, just do.
I will also piggyback on what Gary Van Etten said, and he is correct. By adding another 7, 8, 10 games a week to Zipadelli, you definitely see the increased wear in front of the pitcher's mound. That's once again where we have to encourage groups to grab the mat, bring the mat out. They're breathable. They're meant for, coaches to stand on and throw 500 pitches of practice. They're not, the grass is not set up. And you see it in Major League Baseball. You see it in fields are not meant for a coach to sit there and pitch 500 pitches every single day to destroy the turf. There's only so much wear tolerance that comes with bluegrass, comes with fescue, and it takes multiple months to regrow the grass that's being killed. Gary is right. By the increase of use, if you go out and see the way the field looked at the end of the season, by those 10 or 20 games that were added, it is catastrophic to the field. That's another thing we try to take into consideration as well.
Anybody else? Comments, questions? Once again, I do appreciate all of you guys coming. You are more than welcome to stay for the rest of our agenda if you'd like. Or you are more than welcome to, sign out, and I will send a follow-up email tomorrow or next week because I want to make sure I have all my paperwork that I can attach with it, all the forms and everything like that. Any questions with field reservation request forms, just shoot me an email.
Thanks for giving the help, folks. Have a good night.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
All right, Donna.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about
Okay.
anything, and we'll just move on with the agenda?
Let's move on with the agenda, but we'll talk with it. First thing I'd like to do, though, is go through and introduce Greg Starr. Many of you may know Greg. He just waved. Greg just joined us as a commissioner. I have the pleasure of talking with him today just to give him some information about what our commission does, what we're focused on tonight's meeting. Obviously, he's had attended before, so as a user. But Greg, I don't know if you want to say anything, give any background.
You're muted. You're muted, Gregory. Hold on.
If you can unmute.
Greg, unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yep.
That's funny because that's all right. So I was unmuted on my phone, but I just unmuted there too. So, all right, cool. So I've been in town for 20-something years. My kids have played youth sports, baseball, soccer. basketball within rec under Debbie, playing at Moreland School way back when. So I really enjoyed it, and I've been coaching for all that time. I did softball at St. Paul when they had it. I did in town Little League with Lenny. Of course, Lenny had me just running everything, you know. No, Lenny did everything. And then I've been soccer forever for both my kids all the way up. And I'm involved with the league. I do the fields. I work with Steve. I see he came off. I was going to say what a great job he did, but I can't say it now. No. So I've worked with Steve. I worked with Debbie, and I worked with Jen. I just want to say that they're a great group of people. They do a great job. I can't say enough for, what Jen and their group does. And Debbie, I don't know how you do it, quite honestly. I read the minutes for this last year, and having to go through COVID and everything, really phenomenal. But I always look forward to getting your recreation classes. I know COVID has impacted that, but did a great job in all the pools issues and all that stuff. With Steve, he's not going to be here to hear it, I guess. But
I don't know where he went.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he just decided to take a break. But he's great. I will tell you that I'm in town. I check the fields out all the time, the soccer fields. And I can't say enough for him and his crew. Every time I see those guys, they're just hustling. I've never seen them sitting on their butts doing anything. They're always just they're doing a great job. So there's that. And Steve is immense. The program that he put in, the new program for seeding the fields, has been an immense improvement. We can see it right away, and thanks to him and the town and for you guys, I'm guessing, to approve the budget to do that, but it's had a great impact. This guy, and I found out I didn't realize this, but he also, I guess they grow all the flowers, right? They're putting around all the facilities in town. So, I mean, that's amazing. He knows about grass. He's always there when you need him. They Park and Rec and Parks and Grounds do a great job. We're blessed to have these people. And Debbie, you can smile.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, Greg. Hey, Don, you just want to introduce yourself? I don't know if anybody knows Greg, but for those that may not, just let's go around, just introduce yourself to Greg. So.
Hey, Greg, Don Delaquilla. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Don. I think I ran into you probably a Little League or somewhere around eons ago.
We have.
Yeah.
Tony,
Petramus.
Andrew,
Hi, Andrew Lignani.
How you doing?
Joseph,
There he is.
oh,
Greg, welcome to the commission. Joe Pulcini.
Thanks, Joe. Hi.
and that's Dinesh on call, and you can't see him.
Hi, Greg. How are you doing?
Good.
You are
Did I
my.
have your son in soccer?
Yes, you
Years ago?
did, and you are his favorite coach.
Jeez.
I was his only coach.
Yeah.
For the seniors, anyway. But he's a
Welcome to
great
the
kid.
group.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Greg. Welcome. So with that, if I can get a motion to approve the minutes of January 14th meeting.
To
Make a
approve.
motion to approve the minutes of January 14th.
Second.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Were you guys all there? You guys were all at that meeting, right?
I was.
I was there for the latter half of the meeting.
Okay, so I'll count you. So 6 years. Okay. And Greg, you abstained.
Right.
The only person who wasn't was Steve, and he's not on commission.
Right. Okay.
Okay, we have the election of officers. Jen, do you want to handle this, or what do you?
Basically, every year we have to do a new election of officers in February once all the vacancies are filled. That can be. Someone needs to nominate someone for a chairperson, and maybe that person is willing to accept the nomination, and then we just need to make motions to elect that person, and we should elect a vice chairperson to stand in when the chairperson's not there.
I'll make a motion to continue with Donna Bove as our commissioner.
Second.
Donna, do you accept the nomination?
I will unless someone else wants to do it. That's fine.
Okay, who seconded? Tony?
Tony.
All right. All in favor of electing Donna chairperson?
Aye.
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 Okay.
7-0. Do we have a nomination for a vice chairperson?
So I'll nominate Don Delaquila for vice chair.
I second.
I'll take it. If you guys, if no one else wants it, I'll take it.
All in favor of Don being elected vice chair?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Thank you. Done.
Okay, great, thanks. Okay, we have 2 items on the consent agenda, so we'll take care of those. Can I have a motion to accept consent agenda items A and B? A is the volunteer fire department, B is the high school, so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept on the consent agenda, both items A and B.
I'll second.
Any further
Was that-
discussion?
Greg, just so you know, these are 2 things that happen annually. That's why there's probably not a big discussion about it. They come to the agenda every single year. It's an event that happens every year, and it's always been approved.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep.
I do have one question. I do have one question.
Okay, go ahead, Adrian.
And it has to do more with COVID, I guess, than anything. Are these events going to be able to run?
So I've talked to the 2 individuals handling the event, and they basically know that it's within the guidelines of what we have open on the fields right now. If outside gatherings are limited and we have to shut down fields again, then they understand that.
Okay, I just want to make sure they knew that.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, hopefully after what Fauci said today, we're all going to get vaccinated in April, so we should be fine.
Right.
I hope so too, Don. I really do.
Let's hope. Yeah, jeez.
I was
Okay,
talk-
any
I was
further
talking to s-
discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of accepting consent agenda A and B?
Aye.
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 Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, before we go to Parks and Ground, any discussion comments about the field users? I'll just start. Obviously, I think other than youth soccer for Percival, which I know you're working on because that's the first one, as Bob Sisti brought up, we're going to have to focus on how to handle youth football for their practices and things. I mean,
Yeah, and I
you
think
guys know it, so.
Yeah, and Steve and I have been talking about it. We still have to figure out when construction's actually happening and everything, but we are most likely going to be, coming to you guys with the ideas and hoping that, you'll understand that we've exhausted all other options, and hope that we will have the support of you if we do have to tell them that we do have to give you 2 areas in the same location, but 2 different field spaces, something like that, whatever we can figure out. But like I said, we want to wait and make sure construction's happening this year before we stress ourselves out with all of that.
Right.
Jen, what's their schedule? Do they they'll only be playing in the fall, so starting in September?
They usually start, 3rd week of August, Stephen?
Yeah.
First week of August?
First week.
Okay.
First week of
First
August.
week of August. They practice in the evenings. And then their home game, whenever they have home games on Sundays, the home games are always at Scalise.
And they go 5 days a week, and then the home games on Sunday.
Correct. Usually, sometimes they don't practice on Fridays.
Okay. Now,
They do,
isn't
it's
it
not
correct
regular.
that Aero Simowitz wants that field done behind the high school this summer for the fall?
I don't think this falls on Joe Simowitz. They're 2 different organizations. One is Berlin High School with Joe Simowitz. The other one is youth football with Bob Sisti. I think they're 2 separate
No, I know that. It's just that I thought, my understanding was that he would like it done like sooner. not pushing out.
That's obviously the hope, is to get it done as soon as possible, so we don't have to worry about, so we have the extra field and we have a brand new field. However, we're going to talk about it a little more later in the agenda, but there is a lot that comes into play, especially because it's grant money and it's not town funded money. So,
and with the high school, you have hopefully a season of track, right?
exactly.
Have to use it for that.
Could we close down in April if all ducks are in a row and start construction? Yes, but then you're taking a track season away from from athletes, and that's
Right.
Don't do that, because my daughter runs track. So
right.
Yeah, and you hope that they do. So,
Hey, how long did it take to turf Sage anyway?
You have to remember Sage was a renovation.
Oh,
This
no,
is-
I didn't. I meant the original turfing of Sage, back when I was in school.
yeah,
That was beyond my.
Probably say 4 months. I think that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
There are a lot of
Yeah,
things-
I think, and I was going to mention this, but I didn't want to get into the back and forth around this. But at the end of the day, this committee will do everything humanly possible to ensure the
Right.
student athletes and the athletes of this town get the most use out of anything, right? So
Right.
if it means that there may need to be some flows as part of this process, it's going to be ebbs and flows, right? At the end of the day, Jen was correct. They're going to get a great field at the end of the day. I think Bob worked with you guys very, very nicely to move it from
right.
each to Biscoglio. And I think, Steve, you and Jen will do the right thing. Bottom line.
Yeah.
I
Agreed.
was just wondering what the time frame was, honestly.
Oh, no, I'm just saying what I was going to, I didn't want to bring it up with everybody on the call, but I think that's right to the question.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. I know that. Just, we just want to make, get the info.
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't directing it at you, Tony. No, believe me, I wasn't directing that at you. I was just saying in general, that should be our answer.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll give you guys, if you guys want to skip Woody's monthly report real quick and just talk about the grant, since we're already talking about it, we can skip to that part real quick.
Can I
Sure.
just throw something back in about
Yep.
about youth football?
Yeah.
We had the conversation with Berlin High School football about them losing Biscoglio in the fall, and they were very open to it. Understood the constraints that are going to happen by this turf in the inside of Biscoglio. Taking anybody else and throwing them on Sage Auxiliary, why are we going to destroy that field? Unless we're going to, change our stance on Zipadelli, that we have to find a way to make high school work.
It's a temporary situation. Like Don said, it will work out. It's uncomfortable because they don't know where they will be.
Right. And
And to your point about 80,000 feet, you need 80,000 feet, we'll get you 80,000 feet. And yeah, you might have to play behind the high school and might be a little uncomfortable for practices, but you're still playing your games on Sage. So,
right. And right now, our current thing is Percival Soccer Field's going under construction. That's a huge detriment to Berlin Youth
Right.
Soccer if they get good numbers. So that's something,
I
at the forefront of
agree.
our minds right now, trying to figure out. It's the same kind of situation.
right.
But I also, Jen, believe we have another issue. And again, I didn't want to bring it up with everybody, but to your point, Steve, about throwing the ball in front of the mounds, we have to fix that problem. Because to your point about spending all the money at Zipadelli and over at the other field as well, we have to figure out who is doing that and who's destroying those fields. They keep doing that. You can't just keep throwing money at things.
No, and if you go to Pettit Field right now, screens out there, they have their pitching mats out there. They're not bringing them in, and that's why I was hoping Pettit was going to be on the call. Is once these mouths get so worn out, there's a lip, it becomes a safety issue. Then we have no other choice but to go out and fix it immediately.
Right.
As soon as time allows, because if we're made aware that a ball is going to possibly bounce off the mound onto the lip and take somebody's tooth out, that changes things. It's a game changer.
Agreed. So I think, Jen, we have to address that, and maybe you put that in your notes back out. That, you know, the bottom line is that if people continue to do that, you know, the commission will have no choice but to shut down the fields.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know, are there any teams?
Perhaps have each of the users sign something saying they will use the mats, and, you know, there could be some type of penalty charge or something like that. You know, just lay it out in writing to them.
Do they have the mats? Do these teams have the mats? The high school team, American Legion, do they have mats?
Both the American Legion and Berlin High School are absolutely fantastic on Zipadelli. They've spent thousands of dollars on all the correct mats, all the correct equipment. Anything to save that field, they've bought and manicured that field before and after every game since that field was reconstructed.
Wow, great. That's good.
Yeah.
So Jen, if you can make a note in your minutes about that issue as being an issue that has to be addressed by the field commission folks, that would be ideal.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, so let me give you guys let me give the grant update, even though it's a little further on the agenda, just since it's on topic now. We had a meeting yesterday with a bunch of people that included staff, town manager, finance director, myself and Steve, as well as Board of Ed individuals. So we're at a lull right now with the state. Although the grant was awarded to us and broken down in the 4 compartments, the paperwork of the grant has not been finalized. They haven't assigned a certain staff member to do it yet. So we're waiting on the paperwork from DEEP to get to us. Once it gets to us, we have to kind of put together like a project scope, so to speak, under each project to see how we want to utilize the funds, more specifically than what Joe had written down. And then it has to go back to the state and signed by everyone. So last meeting, we had told you we were going to hopefully go to council and get approval to enter into contract with the architect to start the design services. That was taken off the town council agenda and tabled because the people from DEEP and the state have told us you cannot spend any of the money until the grant is signed. Nothing will be reimbursed. So all the projects are on hold right now until the grant gets to us. We fill it out, we get it back, and we sign it. In the meantime, because these are four very public projects that have a lot of different opinions, a lot of different feedback, a lot of different parts that go with it due to the detail of each project, the town's decided to create a committee that would include town staff. It would include possibly a public building commission member. It would include a town council member from the playing field committee. So that would be either Brendan, Peter, or Mike Yaranaga. And they have asked for one representative from this commission to be on that committee. We're hoping to finalize the members of the committee by the end of this week and hoping to set up a virtual meeting next week to kind of give everyone a chance to represent what they're looking for and what the public is looking for. There's going to be a Board of Med member on the committee who's going to be talking to the softball group, who's going to be talking to the football coaches to kind of see what their requests are and what their needs are. But the committee is going to then work on the grant and breaking it down, looking at project scopes, and be involved in the whole process. So Steve and I need a volunteer from this committee to represent this commission on that committee.
Well, I volunteered Donna because I think she'd be a great representative. But before she answers that question, I go back to your comment about who's going to survey the coaches?
The athletic director will be on the committee, so he will talk to his coaches before he comes to that committee meeting.
Okay.
And then I believe the superintendent might be on, or the principal of the high school will be on, and Jeff Kugno from the Board of Ed, or from the Board of Ed.
So I have a recommendation. Whoever is assigned to this from this committee, and hopefully it'll be Donna, because I know she'll do it right. She should be involved with that athletic director's conversation, because not that Dave wouldn't do a good job, but I think that we need to make sure that there's nothing missing in translation.
Right.
And I'll give you an example of why I'm saying it. Because our previous athletic director went ahead and decided to do things around scheduling and reclassifying the football classifications without speaking to anybody about it. And therefore, this year's football schedule and classifications will be totally different than where they've been in the past. Joe, and unbeknownst to a lot of other people, he did this. So not to say Dave would do that, but I just think that it's better to have someone, especially if we're accountable. I mean, I think we are, right? Are we accountable for this project?
Yep.
Yes.
Eventually it'll fall on the town because the town will be executing the project, but yeah.
Well,
It's Fields though. It's us.
it's us. It's
Yeah.
us, is it not?
Yeah.
Okay. Then,
The other
then I
thing-
think, then I
Yeah,
think
go
we should have someone representing us as part of those conversations. That's just my personal opinion.
That's something I could easily talk to Dave about whoever is the representative from this commission.
Yeah. The other thing is that whoever does represent, I think, needs to bring it back to the commission. And it may not be something that can wait for the next month because time is going to go very quickly. But sometimes, things are decided by the town and we find out about it a month later.
Yep.
Whereas I think for most of the commission members, and Greg, you're fairly new, but we've all been involved in things and we want a say. We want a say in some things before things are finally decided. So whoever is the rep, I just ask that it be brought back to the commission, and get feedback as well. So, yeah.
And we could always, Donna, set up a special Parks and Rec Commission meeting. It's a lot easier now that we're virtual. So
Right.
that's something we could easily do after a committee meeting if the commission wants to get an update.
Okay, and then can I just ask another question? Because the way the original grant was put together, there were some things that were identified. For instance, a new road going into Sage for just say $500,000. The numbers were just tagged, but if that's not something, is this list that's going to be put together going to be a final list? Or will it still be a soft list that can be amended as time goes on?
That's why they want to create the committee, because the fact is, in the grant, yes, there's $350,000 put aside for change the Sage entrance road. However, the estimate the Public Works Department has gotten back for that is $1 to $2 million.
Yeah.
So the point of having the committee is to decide, okay, well, if we can't do that, we have a reason to say we can't do that because we don't have the funds to do that. How best can we utilize this $350,000? Are some of the other projects maybe going to be a little short and might need a little bit extra this money? So that's the whole point of the committee, is decide how
Good.
best to utilize the money.
Okay. Okay.
Steven, does that kind of update our meeting?
It does. And in the last part of this committee that's going to be formed is when you guys are out in the public and somebody comes up and asks you a question. We want to make sure that the committee answers the question the same to no matter who they ask on the committee.
Right.
If they decide to upgrade the lights at Sage 1, Scalise, and Zipadelli, we want the committee to be able to say, yes, we support that decision. So say at the end of it, there's $350,000 left that wasn't spent. Instead of doing something with the road, does it make sense to take that $350,000 and put it into LED light fixtures that are energy conservation, apply to Eversource for reimbursement? That now we have state-of-the-art adequate lighting for all of the facilities. We don't want to make that decision if it's, the chairman of the building, which would be Doug Solik, who's got facilities. He's in charge of the lights, the buildings. We don't want that decision to be solely based on him. We don't want a decision solely based on Bascaglio, because Jen and I think that's in the best interest of everybody. So we want full transparency with everybody who's going to be utilizing these facilities for the next 15 to 20 years.
Yep. Makes sense.
Makes
Yep.
sense.
Okay.
So
Is there-
I nominated Donna. I'm not sure if anyone else is interested in doing that job, but I nominated Donna. I don't know if anyone else feels like they want to do it.
I'll second Donna's nomination.
Yeah.
We don't have to vote on it, actually. It's just-
Okay.
Are you guys in agreement? I mean, Donna, do you want to be part of this committee? Do you have the time?
I will be part of the committee. As long as no one else wants it. I don't want anybody to hesitate. I know I'm retired. Most of you are still working. You know, I can do it. But I will get your involvement because it's really going to be needed, because I'm sure there's going to be a few factions wanting this and that. And I think in the end, we really have to be strong in our opinion. So, yep.
I'm happy to be involved as much as possible, but Donna, you know, really, you have the most experience and most passion about it. So I really think that, you know, we would be best served by you being part of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Agree, Tony.
Okay. Then I will send your information, Donna, to Kevin and Baroche, who are putting together for the committee meeting.
Okay. And
And you'll hear from them most likely.
as this goes on, though, I'll probably send emails out. And just to remind everybody, Greg, you're new, any email that we send out to the commission is really part of public records and
Thank
things.
you.
So just please, if you're going to respond back, respond, think it through, just that type of thing. So, okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, we'll go back up to Steve's monthly report, I guess.
Okay. Let's see.
I might be working backwards on something, and I don't know if you guys have jurisdiction on this or not. But we made the decision back in the middle of December to leave Timberland Park opened, where previously we have closed the gate somewhere around November 1st. And I felt that with the amount of traffic, the amount of people hiking, the amount of people walking, the amount of people that were out there, that instead of locking the park, closing the park, that we would leave the park open as long as it wasn't getting vandalized, destroyed, or anybody wasn't dumping anything. And I'm sorry if I went through the wrong way of just making the decision on my own, but what we decided. Really nothing else crazy happened this month. I mean, we worked on some benches, we picked up all the equipment from the Pettit's buildings, all the little leagues. We serviced the groomers, the mowers. That was we checked the ponds for ice every day. Currently, right now, we have 9 inches of ice at Paper Goods. There's like 4 inches of ice, then like 2 inches of water, and then like another 5 inches of ice. Or with the water in between, it's not safe. And all the other ones are pretty much the same. So that's the skating update on 2021.
So no skating.
We've also have 2 new employees. Chris Rohan, he's about 21, 22 years old. He's been a great asset for the department since he joined. The last individual we hired was Dan Cotto, 30s. He has of experience in all different fields, from welding to mechanical to tree work. He has Class A to drive tractor trailer trucks, where he can haul some of our heavy equipment around for us. So if you see a couple of new faces, it's Chris Rohan and Dan Cotto, and they are so far been a great addition to our department.
Great.
Hey, Steve, when's the last time we had skating in Berlin?
I believe it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's sad, huh?
Yeah.
Bad, because that's one thing they could do with COVID,
Yep.
So.
Well, did you see what those pool companies were doing? How they were actually putting skating rinks in their backyard using the same type of setup that they do with pools.
Yep.
They were making the foundations around using the small size of the pools, putting the brackets, and then putting the liner inside and filling it up with water.
Yeah, that's
pretty cool.
That is cool.
We have open space. Why not, right? Create something. Okay. All right. I'm sorry, I lost my iPad. So what's next on the agenda?
Okay, the tennis ball drop event. This is just an FYI kind of thing. The high school boosters club, the women's tennis division of the boosters, is holding a tennis ball drop event fundraiser on Saturday, April 24th at the Berlin High School tennis courts. Because the high school boosters as a complete group get permission to sell merchandise, tickets, everything like that at the beginning of the year for the whole school year, we don't need to vote on the event or anything. It's on Steve's calendar, it's on our calendar, and the fire department is involved. They're actually going to be doing the drop from the ball, but it's just kind of an FYI so you guys know that it's happening.
Okay.
Any questions? Tony knows more about it.
Thanks. Friday, April 24th at 2:00 in the afternoon. And it's the same day that the Boosters holds their spring car wash, 9 to 2. And then they're going to do the ball drop right after that in the parking lot. So mark it on your calendar. It's a big day. You spend all day at the high school.
Okay.
Hey, Tony, did Jen say earlier in the meeting that next month, March, is when the Boosters have to come for the banners already? A year's went by that quick.
Well, we came for the Scalise Field. This is going to be, this time around, we're only going to get softball boosters.
Okay. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sage 1 update, moving along on the agenda, is very good. We are getting substantial completion list issued to our contractor. We will give them another payment, and then pretty much everything is done until the spring. In the spring, they'll come in. They have a few divots, is it, Stephen?
Yeah.
That they need to fill, and they're going to train all of Steve's employees on some maintenance around the field. And the building is in. It's gorgeous. So.
And it is big. It
is big. It's a lot bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
The field itself looks great. If you could imagine under the snow, once the spring hits, you really all need to go out and see it because it came out great.
Did softball decide what they're going to do for, to add some value to the field, or not yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Percival soccer field update. We are working with the architect WMC right now, coming up with the lay of the land, the plan, and looking to go to bid. I think end of February, beginning of March. Stephen, do you want to just touch base a little bit on the plan, just so you know?
Yep. The plan is as of right now. Unfortunately, due to the soil conditions, we currently don't have the money in the budget or in the field improvements to be able to correctly redo the whole entire field. So what we did with WMC is we took some of the problematic areas like the northeast goal and the backside of Beretta Field where it comes out of center field, and we're going to put a drain in there to try to remove all of the water from the southwest corner and pipe that in. We're also going to dig down the areas where they're going to replace the sod, which probably will say we're probably going to end up replacing a third of the sod throughout the whole entire field. They're going to dig down, add topsoil, add some drainage, which will now give us good permeability there, as well as fixing all of the divots and the sinkholes on the east side of which abuts Town Hall. I think we spoke last time about what we found when we did the geotesting there of what the materials we found below ground. But unfortunately, I think if we were to try to redo the whole field properly, we're looking somewhere between.
Did we lose you?
We lost.
Yeah, we lost him.
He'll be back.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, are you there?
Steve, keep talking. You there?
You're muted. You're muted now. Unmute yourself.
No. Comcast was doing something inside. So I don't know where you guys lost me, but the game plan is to take the problematic areas, especially along the east side and the south and the northeast side, replace the whole mouth of that goal. Hopefully they're going to do a field overlay sometime this week, and we'll include that in the documents for next week. It's color coded to show that the lime green grass is what's going to be replaced to remediate the awful soil conditions that are currently there.
Hey, Steve, do the rock in the south goal, is there something we can do about? I know it's big. Is the dirt and the sod going to cover that enough?
So I'm going to get my bearings wrong here, but I believe it's called the penalty box area.
Yeah, it's a penalty
The
box.
whole 18 yard box is being excavated on both north and the south side where I believe that rock lays.
Uh-huh.
So if that rock, we didn't find any large rocks throughout the field. We found small boulders consistent of a basketball or a soccer ball throughout the whole field. But it's shale and it's flat and very breakable. It's got no density to it. So if that rock lays in the south corner, it'll be removed.
It's right in the semicircle at the outside of the penalty box. You know, it's like a little half moon there. It's right in that area, so it's right in front of the goal. So so I don't know what it's going to take, but if we put dirt over it last year, and my concern is from a safety issue perspective that the rain actually washed some of it out, and some of these kids going full tilt, somebody takes them out and they go flying with their head and hit that spot. That's dangerous. Okay, so if there's something we can do to knock that area down or out or something, because you said it was big. I went with a pipe over there, and it's big. Okay, underneath the ground. So I don't know whether the sod is or the grass is going to the dirt and the sod will cover it. Maybe that'll work. I don't know.
Right. We're not going to leave any safety issues untouched on that field. We will make sure that everything is remediated that needs to be remediated.
Okay, cool.
And maybe you just touch base offline or whatever. Make sure, Steve, you're aware where Greg is talking about, so we make sure we cover it. Get it.
Got a new snow shovel for Greg today. We'll let him shovel his way out there and show us.
There's one thing you guys.
I have a flamethrower that'll take care of weeds too.
Nice.
There's one thing you guys should know about Greg. Greg is retired, and once the snow melts, Greg has his days walking every single field in town. So he's talking about fields. He truly knows what he's talking about.
Please don't encourage him.
So Steve droned me one day. I was out at Sage, and he said, "What are you doing out there?" He calls me on my cell. He had the drone up. Anyway, so that's fine. We'll figure it out. I mean, we talk, and so I just want to make sure it gets fixed. That's all. I'm sure it will.
Hey, Steve, is this going to be the long-term fix for Percival? Because we did have money set aside in that bond that, we asked the town to move on when it included Sage 1 and, of course, Garrity, Pulcini, and things like that. But I know that you were thinking you could do most of it now with the budget, and now you're saying maybe there isn't enough money?
No, this is the bond money.
Oh, this is the bond money.
This is the bond money. Yep.
Oh, okay, so it's not
This
the
is the-
operating budget. So we don't have
This is
enough
the
money,
estimated $200,000 we had for Percival
and that's not enough?
to redo the entire field now, to fix all the troublesome areas to the best of our ability. Yes. Fix all the safety issues. Yes.
And the north goal.
So how short are we, just out of curiosity?
Comfortably, maybe 150,000.
Okay.
The number that we were given, the 200,000, unfortunately was not correct.
Right.
Obviously, yeah, okay.
But WMC has done a fabulous job of really walking that field and looking at the test results and really figuring out how to fix the most troublesome areas. And it is going to be a lot better and a lot safer.
Okay. All right. Anything else on Percival or?
No, that's it for Parks and Grounds. We're on Debbie now.
Okay, Debbie.
Hey, I'm here. I have already obviously given you my February monthly report. I did reveal our Easter event on the bottom. I've purchased some items to make a cute little decorated area that the Easter Bunny is going to be in. I have a background. We have inflatables. I have like a little fence. Steve's staff is going to create a little bench for us. So We will have people driving into Sage. They can stop their car. They can get out. They can take a picture, have the kids sit on the bench, which will be at least 6 feet from the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny will be behind them. They can have their little pictures taken, get back in their car, and then we'll give them a goodie. As long as they pre-register, they'll get a little goodie bag with, I don't know, 7, 8, maybe 9 pieces of candy in it. So I've kind of looked online to see what other people did for Christmas, and this is a similar theme. And I have the picture, but I don't. I have it on my computer to show you. But we have the little setup in our multi-purpose room just to make sure that everything was going to fit logistically. So I think it'll be a good alternative. We obviously with COVID are not able to do our normal hunt, so at least we'll have something for people this year. So that's that's our big thing. We've gotten a few applications for the summer. They always tend to come in slow at the beginning. We have a couple positions, the assistant director for the summer fund program and the facility manager. I'm looking for older, 20 and older for that. So I actually did a flyer to send to the Board of Ed staff to see if I can get any teachers that just want a, nice part-time summer job. So I'm sending that to the Board of Ed tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get some people with that. I think WSI, as I keep mentioning, is going to be an issue because I only have 4 staff right now. So if we do open both pools, we don't have enough to run lessons at both pools. So that is potentially going to be a problem. And with COVID, no one ran any classes over the past year. So there are no new WSIs to come aboard. So I think that's, we might just have to figure out what to do for a year and then hope we get some as we move forward. It's a lot of towns are struggling with it. We're not the only ones, but just trying to get it out so that people know it could be an issue. And then I did kind of give a little bit of what I'm planning. So obviously with COVID, we don't know. Hopefully the vaccines will roll out like they're saying. Charlie Brown, really, he still has not given us permission to open the community center. We have to check back with him next week. The numbers are really good with the state right now. I know hospitalizations are down, the positivity rate is pretty low. So I'm hoping that we can open, and I really just think that we need to offer programs this summer. And that's what I'm trying to moving forward with that. I just think that even if we do 50%, it's better than nothing, which we did last year. So I'm committed to that. I've already got the ice cream emergency set up for the 7 weeks, and we'll try to offer the best program we can with a smaller number of people in a safe environment. So it'll be a challenge, but I think we owe it to the town to put something together and offer some type of program. So
Right.
That's about it. There really isn't that much. It has not changed since my report. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
No, it's a shame, but hopefully things will open up, get better, and you'll be able to do some things. Like you said, 50% is better than nothing. So
Last year, Charlie Brown was very adamant that he did not think that we should, but a lot of towns in the state did. So I think we can do it. It'll take work, but I think that we owe it to people to provide some type of service for them.
Yep, great.
So that's my plan at this point. We'll see what he recommends and whatever we do from May when we need to start registering. But I am planning right now to run as many programs as possible this summer.
Okay. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
All right, the last thing on the agenda is the Community Senior Center update. It's not a huge update based off our emails that went back and forth. QA&M, I hope everyone had a chance to watch the video on the town website. QA&M posted on their Facebook page the website, and somebody shared it on the Berlin Talks Facebook page. So there was concern of how are they going to answer the questions. Well, QA&M did a great job. Victoria actually spearheaded that and got answers to all the questions that were commented on. And they are continuing to watch the town Facebook pages, the town forums, so that if any questions are out there, they're looking to, publicly answer them, and they're still just waiting to schedule public forums. And hi, Dana.
Hi, Dana.
So that's the community senior center update. That's, they're monitoring, they're in the question and answer period. They're hoping people are watching the video and asking questions, either it be on Facebook or via their own project website page.
Hey, so Jen, just looking at the comments, there were a lot of questions or comments about diving for the pool. And it wasn't on the statement of need, that was provided. Have you heard any comments about that?
Only what I've read on Facebook. I know that when we were doing the statement of need, you, I, and Don weren't familiar with what we would need for a pool. So we reached out to Jeff Morey at the time, the athletic director, and that was where we kind of got a lot of our pool information. I don't think it's too late to just figure out what that needs to be added to the project, and QAM is well aware of it.
Okay. The other thing is, there have been some questions. I don't see it being communicated a lot out there. Are we allowed to share it, like on our Facebook page, and put it out there? Because there are people, they don't know enough to go to the town website and look at it, and some aren't on Berlin Talks or whatever. And
by all means, it's public, it's out there. So.
Yeah, and then I just caution the commissioners not to answer specific questions, but allow those questions to be raised and make sure we get them back to the architect then.
Yeah. And if you see a question that you don't believe QA&M has answered, you can email me and I can send it over to QA&M.
Right.
So to Donna's question though, is there a way that we can make the folks in the town more aware of it?
They plan on doing that once they start doing public forums, they plan on doing that. Right now, they're kind of limited to social media and their town project website.
Are they planning to have an article in the Citizen in any way?
Probably once they plan the public forum, so that way they can advertise that those are coming out. That's what they had planned originally when we had them scheduled.
Okay. It's a little early in the game. It's kind of, we're kind of running and then we're going to stop, obviously,
right.
For a while. And so kind of just join it.
Yeah, the more times it's shared, the more time it's talked about on Facebook, the more people will want to come out and learn about it and ask questions in person at the public forum. So that's what we have to remember.
Okay. The swimming coach at the high school, and Tim Thurston, that many of you know, Tim was involved many years ago when we were trying to get the community center going, a little bit of discussion going on. Anyway, he spoke at the forums quite a number of times. Anyway, they contacted me and they said, what should we do? And I said, go on Facebook, make comments. Either you like it or there's something that you need or whatever. We need to get that going. So I'll just continue to impress upon that with them and ask them to do it. So
yeah, if they have specific questions about the project, they should direct that to the QA&M website. There's a spot on that website for answers. That's what QA&M wants us to push people toward. But if they just want, and then once they get those answers, they can share them on Facebook and get the word out.
Right. And so if like I share it on mine, I have the link and the link goes to them. So
yeah, exactly. That's all they're asking.
Okay. And oh shit, what was I gonna ask? Yeah. God, senior moment. I don't know. Okay, anybody else? Questions, comments about it?
Steve's daughter has a question.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Okay, hearing none. Have a motion to end the meeting. Go ahead, Andrew.
Anybody?
Motion to adjourn.
Andrew. Second.
Second.
Greg seconded. Thank you, Greg. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
See you next month, guys.
Good night.
Have a nice evening.
Yep.